Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, Chapter 3. After this stop, we made on to the southward continually for 10 or 12 days, living very sparingly on our provisions, which began to abate very much, and going no oftener to the shore than we were obliged to for fresh water. My design in this was to make the river Gambia on Senegal, that is to say anywhere about the Cape de Verde, where I was in hopes to meet with some European ship, and if I did not, I knew not what course I had to take, but to seek for the islands, or perish there among the negroes. I knew that all the ships from Europe, which sailed either to the coast of Guinea or to Brazil or to the East Indies, made this cape, or those islands, and in a word, I put the whole of my fortune upon this single point, either that I must meet with some ship, or must perish. When I had pursued this resolution about 10 days longer, as I have said, I began to see that the land was inhabited, and in 2 or 3 places, as we sailed by, we saw people stand upon the shore to look at us. We could also perceive they were quite black and naked. I was once inclined to have gone on shore to them, but Surrey was my better counselor, and said to me, "No go, no go." However, I hauled in nearer the shore that I might talk to them, and I found they ran along the shore by me a good way. I observed they had no weapons in their hand except one who had a longer, slender stick, which Surrey said was a lance, and that they could throw them a great way with good aim. So I kept at a distance, but talked with them by signs as well as I could, and particularly made signs for something to eat. They beckoned to me to stop my boat, and they would fetch me some meat. Upon this I lowered the top of my sail and lay by, and 2 of them ran up into the country, and in less than half an hour came back, and brought with them 2 pieces of dried flesh and some corn, such as is the produce of their country. But we neither knew what the one or the other was. However, we was willing to accept it, but how to come at it was our next dispute. For I would not venture on shore to them, and they were as much afraid of us, but they took a safe way for us all. For they brought it to the shore and laid it down, and went and stood a great way off till we fetched it on board, and then came close to us again. We made signs of thanks to them, but we had nothing to make them amends. But an opportunity offered that very instant to oblige them wonderfully. For while we were lying by the shore came 2 mighty creatures, one pursuing the other as we took it, with great fury from the mountains towards the sea. Whether it was the male pursuing the female, or whether they were in sport or in rage, we could not tell any more than we could tell whether it was usual or strange. But I believe it was the latter, because in the first place those ravenous creatures seldom appear but in the sight, and in the second place we found the people terribly frightened, especially the women. The man that had the lance or dart did not fly from them, but the rest did. However, as the 2 creatures ran directly into the water, they did not offer to to fall upon any of the negroes, but plugged themselves into the sea and swam about as if they had come for their diversion. At last one of them began to come nearer our boat than at first I expected, but I lay ready for him, for I had loaded my gun with all possible expedition, and bade Surrey load both the other. As soon as he came fairly within my reach, I fired and shot him directly in the head. Immediately he sank down into the water, but rose instantly and plugged upon and down. Oh my God! As if he were struggling for life, and so indeed he was. He immediately made to the shore, but between the wound which was his mortal hurt, and the strangling of the water, he died just before he reached the shore. Okay. The Thesaurus: amends, atonement, compensation, recompense, satisfaction, redress, damages, reprisal, indemnity, requital. Also as a noun or of a restitution, restoration, dart, dash, run, flit. So many, yeah. Diversion. As a noun, it means amusement, entertainment, pastime, deviation, distraction, detour, fun, sport, recreation, digression, deflection. Mortal, adjective, deadly, fatal, lethal, deathly, earthly. Antonyms, adjective or a noun: immortal, eternal, heavenly, mild, perfect, spiritual. Mountains. As a noun: plenty, mountain range, mountain chain. Oblige, coerce, force, drive, constrain, make, bind, accommodate, obligate, necessitate, enforce, impel. Antonyms: displease, request, hinder. Pursuing, pursuit, search, hunt, coming, engaged. Ravenous or ravenous, hungry, greedy, avid, famished, etc. Quite a lot. So yeah, it is impossible to express the astonishment of these poor creatures at the noise and fire of my gun. Some of them were even ready to die for fear, and fell down as dead with the very terror. But when they saw the creature dead and sunk in the water, and that I made signs to them to come to the shore, they took heart and came and began to search for the creature. I found him by his blood staining the water, and by the help of a rope which I slung round him, and gave the negroes to haul. They dragged him on the shore, and found that it was the most curious leopard, spotted and fine to an admirable degree, and the negroes held up their hands with admiration to think what it was I had killed him with. The other creature, frighted with the flash of fire and the noise of the gun, swam on the shore and ran up directly to the mountains from whence they came. Nor could I, at that distance, know what it was. I found quickly the negroes wished to eat the flesh of this creature, so I was willing to have them take it as a favor from me, which when I made signs to them that they might take him, they were very thankful, for immediately they fell to work with him, And though they had no knife, yet with a sharpened piece of wood, they took off his skin as readily and much more readily than we could have done with a knife. They offered me some of the flesh, when I declined, pointing out that I would give it to them, but made signs for the skin, which they gave me very freely, and brought me a great deal more of their provisions, which, though I did not understand, yet I accepted. I then made signs to them for some water, and held out one of my jars to them, turning it bottom upward to show that it was empty, and that I wanted to have it filled. They called immediately to some of their friends, and there came 2 women, and brought a great vessel made of earth and burnt, as I supposed, in the sun. This they set down to me as before, and I sent Surrey on shore with my jars, and filled them all 3. These women were as naked as the men. I was now furnished with roots and corn, such as it was, and water, and leaving my friendly negroes, I made forward for about 11 days more, without offering to go near the shore, till I saw the land run out a great length into the sea, at about the distance of 4 or 5 leagues before me, and the sea being very calm. Thesaurus, admirable, adjective, fine, outstanding, beautiful, great, commendable, lovely, good, creditable, praiseworthy, worthy, grand. Antonyms, appalling, poor, unworthy, despicable, contemptible, detestable, dishonorable, rotten, unimpressive, loathsome, low. Yes, it is a leopard, not lettered, leopard. Excuse me. So yeah, I suppose I consumed too much porn. Yeah, in fact, too much. But anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening to this video. I hope to see you guys next time on YouTube, if God's still willing. Take care, stay safe, stay tuned, and stay put. Bye-bye. Cheers.